I'm Nola Nichols. Travelled quite a lot on my motor scooter, many years. I had it for 13 years until it got smashed up. Unfortunately, I had to sell it for parts. So this story is about an adventure to Perth.
Well, actually,
around Australia.
All and everything.
Everything,
Yeah.
yes.
That's it. So when I met you the first time, you said you came back to Australia and bought a Lambretta.
That's right. I had a book before that.
In where?
It's a motor scooter.
In
Australia.
Where?
Oh yeah, in Australia.
Right, but you said you came back to Australia.
Yes.
So where
I
have
had
you been?
been living in Scotland.
Right.
Yeah. Living in Scotland for about 2 years, and then came back here, and then went back again for 12 months later on. Yeah.
Okay. So what made you buy a Lambretta as opposed to another
Because
coupe?
some of my friends already had Lambrettas, so that's the reason why. And I didn't want, the whole book was falling apart in any case. To get something else that was a bit more sturdy.
Right.
And I think my dad had sold it while I was away. So,
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. So I think, it's time to get a new one. I want a brand new vehicle, so. It was my mother who introduced me to get a motor scooter, which is most people are surprised about, because the ladies who lived down the street from us had them, and I used to ride a push bike to horse riding every Saturday morning, and she said, why don't you get yourself something, then you can ride to work and everything else. Go and have a talk to them. So I went down and had a talk to them. But they had I don't even know what they had, it wasn't Lambretta. So yeah, my mother was my instigator in becoming a Lambretta rider.
Oh, okay. My father tried to persuade me not to. But
I was awfully surprised that my mother would do that. It really was. So yeah, that's when I got a Lammy.
So amongst your friends, would one of those be Agnes? Or?
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
so she already had a Lambretta.
She had two. Her and a friend who emigrated to Australia. They're Scottish, and they had bought a scooter between them, and then the other girl went back to the UK. So when I came back, I wanted a Lambretta as well. So that's how I got it.
Okay. Now, as I said before, Pat told me that a lot of the girls in the Lambretta Club were nurses. Now, I think you said Agnes was a nurse?
No, she's not a nurse.
No?
She was worked in accountancy.
Oh, okay.
And but two of her flatmates were nurses out here, and they came, one from Scotland, one from England. I'm not sure. I know Isabel. I don't know which one it was. Isabel and Eve. I really don't know who's who there. So.
And you, what did you do?
I was a secretary as well.
Right.
Yeah. So office work was my job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty common for women in those days, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Office
Well,
work.
there was a choice of being a nurse and an office worker, or working in a factory.
Yeah. Or a shop assistant.
Yeah, shop assistant. Yeah. So there wasn't much to choose from. I wish I was younger now and we had into the world. Yeah. So, yeah.
So you came back, you bought a Lambretta.
Yes.
And was it via the friends you got into the Lambretta Club as well?
Yes, it was. Yes. And then I rode it up to Cairns and back again. I couldn't stay in Sydney. I couldn't stay anywhere for any longer. But it's been 10 years of complete travel. My father used to say, when are you going to go and stop travelling, So, yeah. And then I came back, and then I think I went twice up to Cairns and back. And then came back, and that was when Agnes said, let's go to Perth. I said, okay, I'll go to Perth. Anything to get...
Just like that.
Yeah. It was an easy decision, and seeing Australia I love Australia. It was a great decision to make. And we had to get all our things together. And
Yeah, so do you want to talk about the planning of it a little bit? If there was any planning?
Well, we had this friend in Victoria, and we wanted to go there and stay with her for a bit, and then move on. And we wanted to go along the Great Ocean Road, and I had friends in Perth that I could go and stay with when we got there. We didn't know whether we were going to stay and work or not, but we did. And my father had a friend who was a carpenter, or I guess he was, and he made the boxes for us that we had on the back of our scooters. And once we got it all organised, we were heading out. You know, like we wanted to go in the winter time to Perth because we thought it would be too hot in the summertime. So we did.
Yeah. But other than that, you didn't really sort of organise anything. It was just ride.
Yeah,
stop when you
just
felt
ride.
like it.
To go as far as we could in a day, and then stop, camp. We had 2-man tent, which I'd had for years in any case. So we had all that kind of stuff with us. Anything we were a bit concerned about was food, carrying food and things like that. And we ended up with, the box has 2 compartments. A big bit, and then down the bottom a smaller bit which had a basin in it and all that cooking utensils. Or we both had the same thing, so we shared the food and what have you. We found out we couldn't carry eggs because they would go.
Yeah.
So we used to, if we wanted eggs, we bought a half a dozen and boiled them. Couldn't carry sugar. That's when I gave up sugar.
Oh.
Because the sugar bags would burst.
Would burst open, yeah.
And the sugar would be everywhere, so yeah. So things like that we couldn't.
Tupperware was around there then, wasn't it? Tupperware was around then, though, wasn't it?
Probably was, but it would have taken up too much room.
Oh, okay.
It was easy to have it in a bag or something
Right.
like that, yeah. A few things we had in Tupperware. I guess we carried coffee and tea.
Just went back okay. Otherwise you wouldn't hear you.
No. So, yeah, we carried virtually, and we tried to buy fresh food when we could. You know, like fresh meat or fish, but we carried fruit, we eat fruit, so yeah, dried fruit as well, nuts,
Right.
stuff like that. So.
But you mostly self-catered?
Yes, yeah. But when we got to, especially when we got to civilization in places, then we would go and have a big eat up.
What was the definition of civilization?
A motel that had a restaurant with it, or even a shop, you know, like you'd see something and stop and think, oh, yeah, well, let's have a shop, you know. And I found this morning in my diary that there were many places that was, oh, let's have an ice cream. Oh, we could get chocolate here and eat it. But that kind of stuff, so yeah.
So you went down the coast of New South Wales?
Yes, we went down the coast. We left Sydney on the 19th of April, and our first overnighter was at Narooma, and that was good. The weather was fine. It was after, when we hit Victoria, we really got bad weather. The next night was the Cairns River,
Right.
on the border,
Yeah.
and then to Traralgon, where we stayed with friends there, and it poured and poured, and we were there for a week. We go, no, we're not going. No, we won't go tomorrow. We won't go tomorrow. And then, oh yeah, we will go tomorrow. And then the day we did plan to leave, I suppose we were there for a week or something as well. And the day we did plan to leave, it wasn't raining. But as soon as we got on the bike and went a fair way along the road, down came the rain again.
Right.
We spent a lot of time in our week here. And a lot of time trying to dry out things as well. So, yeah. Yeah, so from Traralgon we went through Melbourne and out along the Great Ocean Road.
Okay, so you went around the coast road.
Yes,
So that was all tarmac then?
Yes,
Right.
yes, yeah. And the old London Bridge was still alive then. It was still attached.
Oh, you talk about the Great Ocean Road.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
That was still attached. And so we saw things that we couldn't see today. And then we went to, where did we go from there? It's Traralgon. Mount Gambier. Warrnambool and Mount Gambier.
Right.
Yeah. And we stopped a few places along the road as well. Some places on the Great Ocean Road it was really, really wet, so we found, I think we stayed in a youth hostel there somewhere. And then went back the next day for a little while before it rained again. So it wasn't a very good weather that way. So, and then from Gandia we went to Kingston. It's about 100 miles. And then on to Murray Bridge. Some of these, 137 miles on that one. And then we went to Elizabeth in South Australia.
Yes.
Because I had a cousin there and I wanted to see her, so we stayed a few days with her. They were actually moving back to Sydney, so we actually stayed in their house after they had left because they paid the rent up for another day or two, so we got a free couple of days there, so that was good. And then from Elizabeth, where did we go? Yeah, Gladstone. And from there to Port Augusta, which was starting to get warm and dry and what have you. But then we did get some bad weather there as well. We ended up at Ceduna, and in Ceduna that was we went into the camp, the council campsite.
Yeah.
The woman wanted to charge us extra because we had 2 scooters, which were 2 motor vehicles, and 1 tent. And we were a bit pooed off with that one. So we ended up going to the council and complaining because it was a council car park, a caravan park. And they said, no, that's okay, you can just take the 2 scooters, you only got 1 tent. And we went back and the woman was adamant that we couldn't. So we left 1 scooter outside and we camped inside the fence, 1 outside the fence, and then 1 inside the fence. Just stupidity. And at that place, we were walking through the caravan park and we met some friends from Queensland that I've known for years. And they were on their honeymoon. And they said they'd heard the scooters going pop, 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 going through the caravan park. And they knew we were on the road. So they thought, I wonder if it's the girls. Sure enough, it was, So we spent a bit of time with them in Ceduna.
So did you get any comments from your friends about doing this ride? Or?
No, actually, I think they were used to me riding the scooter everywhere. Like in Sydney, I used to, if we went on a night out, and it was in the days where women wore longer skirts in those days if you were going somewhere special, and I used to pin mine up. And then when I got there, drop it down again, they were used to me doing silly things, so it didn't really matter, so. No, nobody really thought about it. I never thought about it that way as well, no.
Yeah, so when I met you last time, you were talking about when you used to get repairs done, there was this guy in North Sydney.
Yeah, McCready.
He used to insist on you.
Yeah, before we went, he said that it was, if you're going to do that, then you're going to have to learn how to fix your scooters manually, So anytime we took it over there, for repairs or something, he would make sure that we sat down while he did it and we learned how to do it as well. So it was very helpful and we were thankful for that because I don't think we would have lasted all the way. And reading this diary today was quite often, every day we used to seem to tighten up all the nuts and bolts on everywhere. Every day we do that, especially going across the Nullarbor because of the ruts in the road. It was a dirt road, so so we were thankful for. I think his name is McCready. I think that's what his name was. And we were thankful that he did that. And of course, with the Lambretta Club, they had maintenance days as well, and we learned things from there as well. So we were fortunate enough to be able to do that kind of thing. So it was really good, helpful.
So what sort of things did you have to repair when you?
Not much. I think we had to do a couple of cables somewhere along the line. Not too much at all, actually, on that trip.
There was something about the rear wheel?
Yeah, that was the trip up to Cairns, one of the trips up to Cairns and back again. So, yes, we had to, fortunately I had found a man to help me with that one as well. that was things I didn't know about. So yeah, but yeah, we were lucky. I mean, quite often, according to this as well, we had to do our sparks, you know, like because they get full of dirt as well going across the Nullarbor and what have you. So as you said, you know, the Nullarbor, the whole place is red, red earth, and it stays there forever. So yeah, we did a lot of changing that. And get up in the morning and try to start the bloody thing, and it wouldn't work. And then it would go, yeah, okay, okay, I better change it before we start. So we did have all those bits and pieces with us as well. And we carried water in containers, and at one stage we had to carry petrol as well. And I was reading here this morning that somewhere we couldn't get water, and the guy eventually the next day decided to give us some water out of his tank because he didn't like us travelling along without any water. So we were lucky that way as well. So yeah, so from Ceduna we went to
Nundroo.
Yeah, to Nundroo.
I stayed there.
Yes. Oh right.
Probably hasn't changed very much.
Probably hasn't. Right, so just first marking and stop.
So where did the dirt start?
Just out of Ceduna.
Right.
And that's from then on, it was right to the West Australian border, and it was like a bitumen stop.
Yeah.
That was it, and the rest started. Yeah, so I'll just see. We had lots of rain as well, according to this.
Which on the dirt road would have been fantastic.
Yes. And then our next stop was Ivy Tanks.
Right.
I don't know whether, did you see that when
No,
you were
I didn't.
going over? Well, that's probably on the old road and not the new road, so yeah. So that was then, and then we went to Euclid from there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, my remembrance of Euclid coming down the escarpment
Yes.
was just quite stunning.
Yeah, well, it probably is a different compared to what we went and saw as well, you know, like it was all sand and dirt, red dirt.
Yeah.
And then
Did you go down
the old
escarpment?
stations, we went down to the waterfront in the end, so in Euclid. And
I saw the photographs of the telegraph station.
yes,
Half covered by sand.
Yeah, so I don't know what it's like now. Are they still there?
Still
or?
kind of like that apparently.
Oh,
It appears
right.
and disappears.
Yeah, it comes up and then goes. Because I mean, the wind just blows it away all the time, doesn't it? So, yeah. And then from there, the rest area from Euclid. I don't know where that is. And then Cayuna.
Yeah.
And then not far from Norseman, but we never made it to Norseman. We were too tired to get to Norseman. So the next day was Norseman, and that was where we had to have a good wash of clothes, and that took hours to do, and then dry them off, and so we had a couple of days in Norseman while we did that. So that was good, but hitting the bitumen was wonderful. It was just, here we are. So that was good, that was really good. And then we went into, we had a couple of days in Norseman, then Coolgardie. We went through Kalgoorlie, of course, and had a wander around there before we went on to Coolgardie. Coolgardie is where we met the warden that was quite happy and drunk and everything else, but that's okay, you know. So we had met a lot of lovely people on the way. Even you know, like in campsites, people will come up to us and say, you know, hey, it's, you know, where are you from? You know, you girls are not guys. You know, like you can never tell on the scooter what, especially wearing the overalls that we wore. So they would sit there, and then the men would come out at night time and say, oh, okay, the wife said come in for coffee after you've had your dinner and we've had ours, we'll call for you, because we had to eat before dark, cook before dark, and was winter time, so dark was early. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, not having any lights or anything, we just we had torches and that was it. So. Yeah, so from Coolgardie we went a couple of days in Coolgardie, and then Merredin into Perth, towards Perth, and then into Perth, where I had friends that were waiting for us, and they lived in Perth, and so we were able to stay with them until we could get jobs. We actually stayed in Perth for nearly 12 months, I suppose, before we decided to come back to the eastern states. It's hard to get jobs. Western Australian people don't like the eastern states when it comes to food or work. You know, like, yeah, but where do you get your food from? From the eastern states. We were both fortunate enough to get jobs there. Agnes had a job because she worked for Alscovinu here in Sydney, and they had arranged for her to go and work there, so that was all right. I went for a few interviews, and then the guy who gave me the job, he was Scottish, so kind of had a bit of a Scottish accent as well, so he was quite happy to have me. And then he didn't ask me where my last job was. And then when I told him, oh, it doesn't matter, I'll offer you the job in any case. So we stayed.
What was the problem with your last job?
Because I came from Sydney.
Oh,
yeah.
Just because you came from Sydney?
Yeah. But, yeah, so anyway, so that was okay, that was fine.
Tell me the story about you showing up at Winterbottom's, the Lambretta.
Yes, we went into, the guy here in Sydney, McCready, had given us the address and everything to go to, so when we got to Perth and we'd settled a little bit, we went in, and there was a whole pile of guys sitting in the workshop out the back, and we said, you know, we asked for the owner, whoever it was, I can't remember the name, but you said Winterbottom, and I think that's what the name was. And then he took us out the back, and he said, see these girls? They can repair all their scooters. What are you guys sitting all around here for?
And these were customers?
Yeah, and I think they were like a local, like a club thing, you know, like they were there, they all knew each other and everything else. So he was telling them, you know, they can do it, you can do it, blah, blah. So, okay, that's fine, you know. So we're lucky that way as well. And we spent a lot of time travelling around on our scooters around in the bottom part of Western Australia, but also had a ute from work that I was allowed to take on weekends. So we did hitch that up with put the sleeping bags on the back of the ute and sleep sometimes with that. But we joined a group of youth hostelers over there as well, and we spent all our weekends going up there. And then time came that we wanted to come back to Sydney. We were talking about going overseas again. So, and the money in Western Australia was a lot less than it was in the eastern states in those days. I believe it's equal now, but it wasn't then. So then we thought, well, we can't ride our scooters up the west coast. There's not enough places where we could get gas and what have you. So a couple of our friends from the youth hostels said they were heading up to Darwin in their car with a trailer on the back, and they were going down to Alice. And we said, oh, okay, we can get our scooters to Alice on the train. So we did that, and we put the scooters on the train to Alice. And we went up the west coast to Darwin, down to Alice, and we had to wait for about a week before our scooters arrived at Alice Springs. I think because it was a goods train that they were on, you know, you had to wait, and then they had to come up on the Garn and what have you. So it was quite a while before we actually got them. Mine came off with a rubbed yeah, but it was still working, so that was okay. So then we headed up 2 3-ways from there, camped at the Devil's Marbles at one night, and that's where we encountered our dingoes, but they were fine. And then up to 3-ways into Mount Isa. From Mount Isa we came down through central New South Wales because we'd already been on the coast road a couple of times to Cairns. So then we came back through.
So would have any of this been dirt, or was this all bitumen?
Yeah, no, some of it was dirt. Yeah, some of it was dirt. And we went into Carnarvon Gorge was a Cairns trip. But yes, some of it was dirt. We came back through Burke, and our last night on the road was orange, and it snowed, and it was freezing cold, and the next morning it was white and ice, so we had to stay a bit longer. And then back into Sydney, where it all just happened. We were back home again, you know, like it was hard to take because we'd been sleeping on the ground a lot of the time. We had a two-man tent, but the more you're on the road, the easier it was, if it was fine weather, to sleep under the stars. And it's the most beautiful thing, to sleep under the stars, I think. I just watching everything going at night time. It's lovely. So, yeah, but there were times we stayed in youth hostels, times we pitched the tents. Just all depends. If it was fine night, we would just throw the sleeping bags onto a brown sheet and sleep between the two scooters. That was fine.
So what would you say was your favourite thing about doing it?
I think it's just, I love the red dirt. I think the red dirt has just got something about it, mystique about it. I'm glad I did it. I had been to Perth before, but on the trains. I went over there for the Commonwealth Games many years ago. And just the people you meet on the road. One, because we had our scooters had boxes on the back, and they were white when we left home, and we decided, okay, we will put stickers on it because people were asking where we'd been, what we had stories on the back of the bike, you know. Like, and at one stage we had stopped in some, I think it might have been Coolgardie, I really can't remember where, and this drunk came up to us and said, "Oh, what have you got in there?" You know, and I said, "Oh, that's our fridge." And this guy says, "Fridge? You have a fridge that runs off that?" "Yeah, that's right." We weren't able to open the box and find the clothes, and everything else was there as well. So, yeah, just the people you meet. I think travelling as well, you learn a lot from them. No place stands out in my mind as special. Although I just do love the open space as well that Australia has. So, yeah. So that was my little journey. I can't think of anything else to say. I think that was about it. Okay.
So you finally gave up with the scooter when it got damaged.
Yeah.
So you said you had it for 13 years?
I had my Lambretta for 13 years. And
so it was early 80s, in fact.
Yeah. And by then I had bought my first car. I never had a car beforehand. I always had a scooter. So. I bought, and I didn't ride it a lot, although I was sharing a flat with Agnes at that time, and I think she'd already got rid of her scooter, and for some reason she used to drive it to work sometimes. It didn't matter to me, like it's getting used. And then somebody came up the backside of her one day and smashed it up on the way to work. Well, actually, if you're ready to turn into work, and they weren't looking in. So I ended up selling my poor little Lambretta for parts, and that was it. Now they tell me it's worth heaps, which is a shame, but never mind. You can't have them forever. No, that's it. So, yeah, that's my story.
Cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
You happy with that?